our Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.
We are live, and it's Tuesday, August 9th. Wager Talk Today on Wager Talk TV, and it's live every Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and of course, archived 24/7 here on Wager Talk TV on YouTube. And don't forget to download the Wager Talk TV app. It's available on all the download app stores now, and it's on Roku as well as of yesterday. You have no excuse now heading into the football season not be able to watch Wager Talk TV on a daily basis. This is Wager Talk Today. Once again, I'm Steve Merrill, filling in for the Prez, who's on assignment. He'll be back tomorrow on Wednesday. I have to leave this joint, Teddy, by midnight before he returns. Teddy covers my co-host as always. He'll be here all week long, keeping the Prez in line. It is Flex Tuesday. The Prez has now, Teddy, missed 2 straight Flex Tuesdays, which makes me think maybe he has not been working out. Dave Sharapan, though, will be here at the end of the show to flex for us. Beforehand, though, we've got Bryan Power from WagerTalk.com. We've also got Tokyo Brandon, which means we're going to be talking some Asian baseball in the show. Could talk some MLB with Bryan Power and also an NFL season win over-under total. Looking forward to that. Teddy, you gave us a Thursday NFL preseason big game breakdown yesterday. On Monday, you've got the other game here on Tuesday, Giants-Patriots. So, we got baseball, obviously, on a daily basis. But as you said yesterday, we will have football every show, every day for the month of August, and we've got some football today on Tuesday. But before we get to all that, Teddy covers, what did you learn? What did Bettors learn? Anything on Monday?
So, this time of year, what do? My daily routine is really simple, all right? I'm going through every beat writer I can find in the NFL. I'm going through every beat writer I can find in college football, and it's just, let's read this article, let's read that article. You're putting information into your brain. So what did I read yesterday that really stood out? One of them really stood out in the NFL level, and that is the reports coming out of Patriots camp in New England. All right, the Patriots are really installing this zone blocking scheme on offense, taking away the system that they've run on the offensive line for the last 21 years, a system that Charlie Weiss installed for New England. Now, supposedly, Matt Patricia is going to be calling plays this year. And it's a huge departure from everything they've done. And when you read the reports out of camp yesterday, I'm just going to read you a couple of tweets. There were like 15 of these. All right. Quote, Patriots defense is running roughshod over the offense. Highlights for that side were sacks by Barmore and Juden during the third down period. Offense looks broken. Can't protect. Losing one-on-one. Blitz is getting through. No run game. Miscommunication on routes. Patriots' number one offense today has been distressingly bad. Run stuffs, aborted plays, would-be sacks, distress lobs into traffic just to get bailed out, just to get the ball out. Beginning to feel it's less than the new offense and more the post-Scar cycle of offensive line coaches. Of course, Carmucci was their offensive line coach for years. They are perpetually overwhelmed. This wasn't one beat writer. This was like 4 different beat writers coming in, and every tweet that you saw and everything that you read is the Patriots offense does not work right now. This is a team that started 2-4 last year. Then they won 7 in a row. They were 9-4 in first place after beating the Bills in week 13. Then they lost 3 of their last 4. I would not be surprised if we see another slow start this season. That is a bet against training report if I've ever seen one. And let's remember, it's still very early. The Pats preseason offense is most assuredly, though, worth paying attention to moving forward. It's something we'll be looking at very closely this weekend. And yeah, we'll come back to the Pats when it comes to big game breakdown time. Steve?
That's right. And Teddy Covers, of course, had a big game breakdown yesterday on the Ravens-Titans game as Harbaugh and company goes for their 21st straight preseason win. Teddy had a very interesting take if he gets there or not. And Teddy, the first thing that jumps on me about the Giants-Patriots game is the total's 34. We saw a 30.5 for the Hall of Fame game. We see a 31 for that Ravens game. Yet this is actually a fairly high total for week 1. And you're talking about the offensive struggles. But then again, they probably need to focus more on offense. So I'll save that the big game breakdown for more talk on this game. But once again, Patriots, Giants, interesting takeaway there. New England is obviously a team that is no longer the AFC powerhouse like they were for a couple of decades with Brady and company.
So we've been saying in Belichick we trust for 20-something years. All right. And Belichick has earned that trust and he's deserved that trust. This year, at least right now, feels a little bit different. I'll leave it at that.
Teddy, over under. How many more years for Belichick? 1.5?
It doesn't matter. I'll take the over. What is Belichick going to do retired, dude? That would be the most miserable retired man I've ever seen. All right. If Belichick retires as head coach, he'll be a special consultant somewhere. He'll be like Tom Moore, the Colts offense coordinator who was doing it, when he was 80 or something. I can't picture Belichick retired. Belichick won't retire until he can't remember anyone's name.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I mean, most of these guys, players and coaches, always end up coming back, and Belichick's probably as intensive an individual we've ever seen. He's kind of, he's a Parcells disciple. Don't forget, Parcells wasn't able to walk away either. He came back, 2 or 3 times as well. So it's in their blood. Handicapping is in the blood of Bryan Power. He's one of our newest members at WagerTalk.com. And Bryan, you're the $2 capper. $2 Tuesday, folks. A huge discount. He's got a 5% MLB best bet. Normally $35 for that single play. It is just $2 because we want everybody to get familiar with Bryan Power. And Bryan, welcome to the show. And before we get to some baseball and NFL future, let's get familiar with Bryan Power. Tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into handicapping, and kind of the methods you use.
Great to be here. And as I've been talking about over at Wager Talk, spent the last 10 years at Covers, built up a pretty good reputation there. Happy to be a part of this family. Obviously, it's been great so far. We've had a great winning run. As far as how I got into the industry before Covers, actually started at a site called Vegas Experts, just working behind the scenes. Built a relationship with some of the handicappers. Opportunity arose to move on, handicap on my own. Went pretty well, I think, there for the decade. I think the record speaks for itself. And, as far as how I handicap, I think people have, who have already sampled me have found this out. I've really embraced, kind of the advanced stats movement that has taken over the analytics and everything over the last several years. And that's how, that kind of leads me. And we'll talk more about that specifically with the future that we're going to talk about today.
The NFL, going to look at the NFL future, as you said, and this is actually an interesting one. We'll get to that in a moment. We're going to start with baseball. He's looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers over-under win, and we talk, about Belichick and company, how the Patriots maybe aren't the powerhouse anymore. I'm interested to get your take, Bryan, on the Pittsburgh Steelers and my former classmate, Mike Tomlin, but we're going to save that as a tease. Let's look at some baseball first. We actually talked about this game with Marco D'Angelo yesterday on Monday, and Marco loves to fade whenever possible the Sunday night hangover angle. And the Padres somewhat fit the bill there, even though they'd gotten swept. It was still maybe a little bit of a flat spot. And Marco had mentioned they were just, I think, 3-8, or no, what was it, Teddy? It was 5-8. I think 5-8 or something after playing the Dodgers recently. But they've been big favorites in all of those losses, and they lost again, in those situations. Now we got Giants Padres here. What I want to know is, do the Padres get back on track this week, or is San Francisco a live dog here tonight on Tuesday, Bryan?
Well, great minds must think alike. I had the same exact viewpoint on last night's game as Marco brought up about the Sunday night flat spot coming off that. I actually won with the Giants last night. Played them on the run line. Wish I would have played them on the money line. Some might say a little cowardly approach last night, but a win's a win. I'll take it. And, looking at the Giants, I don't know about you guys, but coming into this year, this was a team that I figured would be headed for major regression. They had a huge spike in win percentage last season. I say win percentage because obviously 2020, we had the COVID shortened season. But they were like plus 45 units, which, correct me if I'm wrong, that this being in 2021, and that was like the most profitable season since the 01 Mariners, I think. So they were a big candidate for regression. And as we know, they have regressed somewhat in 2022. But I'm now of the belief they're a bit undervalued. Game below 500. But they do have a plus 23 run differential, which is not all that different from the Padres team that they're facing again today, Steve. And, I like Alex Cobb. He's starting for the Giants. I think he's pitched better than what his ERA and his whip indicate. He's allowed 3 runs or less, 8 of his last 10 starts. Generally goes 6 or more innings, 3 quality starts in the last 4. And we know it's not going to take a lot of runs for the Giants to win this game. They won last night, 1-0. There was the overturned call for the Padres, but bottom line, this team has scored a run in just 2 of its last 36 innings. And correct me if I'm wrong, that's not very good.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that Ralph Michaels' database has shown us is that teams off back-to-back shutout losses tend to be good bets in their next ball game, which the Padres are. And certainly, Musgrove's one of these guys. He struggled. He got hit hard by the Rockies last time out. But he's certainly a guy who, at times this year, has been pretty dominant for San Diego. Is this just a general approach like, hey, the Giants are an undervalued commodity right now. The Padres are slumping. Let's just ride the hot and fade the cold with San Fran on a 3-game winning streak? Or is this a broader picture approach than that, where maybe this Padres team is a team 1-5 since those big trade deadline deals? Maybe San Diego's just an overvalued commodity. We should bet against them on the reg until proven otherwise. Right?
Teddy, I think it's both short-term and long-term. You mentioned Musgrove. The team's lost the last 4 times he's taken the mound, and he's allowed at least 4 runs in 3 of those starts, 6.75 ERA in the last 3. And, you mentioned the Rockies start last time, gave up 6 runs, and that was at home, not at Coors Field. It's one thing to do that at Coors, another thing at Petco. And you take a big picture approach here with San Diego. The offensive issues, yes, everyone's going to focus on what they did at the trade deadline, but this team's averaging less than 4 runs per game at home. They're 25th in the league in scoring at home. Only the real dregs are behind them, the Kansas Cities, the Washingtons, the Oaklands, the Detroit. So, yeah, I just look at this. I can't believe the pricing we're getting. I think these teams are a lot more even than the odds suggest, and the Giants are a live dog again today. I know San Diego's got to score, to your point that you made, Teddy, eventually, but just 4 they've scored in just 4 of the last 45 innings total. That's, again, not good.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely not. It's not just no runs. They're not hitting the ball. 5 hits last night, 2 hits on Sunday. And by the way, Brian's last 5% MLB best bet was the 4-0 under winner on Sunday Night Baseball, in which the Padres got shut out with 2 hits. So I'd say that was a pretty solid 5% winner. He goes for his 5th straight 5% MLB best bet with $2 Tuesday. Normally it'd be $35, but you get it for just $2 because, as the name says, it is $2 Tuesday. Brian Power, WagerTalk.com. All right, Brian, you're a red hot in baseball. 2-0 sweep last night on Monday, by the way, as well. Let's talk a little football, though. Teddy talked about how the Patriots maybe are regressing. I want to know about the Pittsburgh Steelers, another perennial powerhouse in the AFC for the past decade or two. Season total is around just 7, though. Obviously, that would be a 7-10 season with 17 games now. Is it low enough, though, or the Steelers a team maybe that's kind of riding on past history and that just the public hasn't caught on yet?
Well, Steve, your former classmate, Mike Tomlin, I know he has never had a losing season on the sideline, but if you want to bet this over, that's basically all you're hanging your hat on is the history of the Steelers. I look at this team. I think it's the worst team he's had in his time there. There were a number of teams last year in the NFL that won more games than they probably, quote unquote, should have. The Falcons, the Raiders, but the Steelers, I thought, were the biggest overachiever of the bunch. This is a team that enjoyed a halftime lead in just 4 of its games last season. They were extremely fortunate, 8-2 straight up in 1-score games, 4-0 in those decided by 3 points or less. I don't think we're going to see that kind of luck again in close games. I don't think the defense can replicate its success that it had on 3rd down. And I don't think field goal kicking is going to be as accurate as it was last year. So add it all up. And obviously we have the quarterback situation, which I'm sure you're going to want to ask about. But, add it up, this team is easily worse than it was last year. They should have won less games. And I'm going under 7.0.
So I have multiple questions about this. And, of course, the biggest issue for me is you talked about Tomlin's track record. And, and again, he's never had a losing season. And now you're asking Pittsburgh to not just lose, but they have to go 6-11 or worse for you to cash your winning bet at under 7. So we're talking about a coach that's never had a losing season, and now you're expecting him not just to go 8-9 or 7-10, but to bomb out and go 6 or 11. You have a division in which there are questions on multiple other teams, whether it's a Ravens skill position, whether it's a Browns quarterback. It's a division that has been highly regarded in years past, but is not as good this year. You have a quarterback change, which, if you watch Big Ben last year, I don't care what Mitch Trubisky or Mason Rudolph or whoever is going to be quarterbacking for the Steelers looks like, not going to be any worse than Big Ben was last year. Big Ben was a corpse, trying to chuck the football downfield. It wasn't pretty. And last but not least, So I'm not anticipating a big downgrade at QB. We have a coach who always wins and now has to have a bottom-out season. You have a division that's that good. And last but not least, Pittsburgh, for all the questions about Pittsburgh's offense, that's still a defense that can win games, isn't it? I mean, it seems like you're making a lot of leaps of faith here to look at the Steelers under 7. Not 7.5,
Okay.
under 7. It's tough.
Yeah, so I do agree with you about the quarterback. Thank you, by the way, for that, Lita. No, those are all good points. And I do agree with you on the quarterback situation that Big Ben, I think you referred to him as a walking corpse. I couldn't agree more. He was very bad last year, so it's not going to be that great. But the offensive line is still terrible. And yes, the defense is very good, but it was, on third down, the numbers show, I think their efficiency can't be sustained on that down. That's just, kind of what I think. And this is a team that should have had a losing record last year. I know they didn't, but I don't think they should have won 7 games last year. Again, they only led at the half 4 times. Odds makers don't like them. I think they've only got them favored in 5 games this season. Did I maybe misread that or something? But I think so. I think they're going to be a dog in 7 of the first 8. Looking at the schedule, a slow start, I think could put them behind the 8 ball. And yeah, I know I'm going against history, Teddy, but I think it's 6 wins or fewer for the Steelers. I've got them in last place in that division. I get you that there's not a team, because the Bengals are going to regress, right? They're not going to be as good as they were last year either. But I think the Ravens will be a little bit better, and the Browns are obviously an X factor with Watson. But yeah, I've got the Steelers finishing in last place in that division.
Yeah, and Brian, if you look at all the playoff teams last year, and Pittsburgh was a playoff team at 9-7-1, they were minus 55 net points. Every other playoff team was positive. In fact, the Bills were almost plus 200 net points. The Patriots, who Teddy just talked about, maybe regressing as well, they were plus 159 net points making the playoffs. So that's an interesting barometer, because I love the close wins and losses. That's something we look at, one-run wins and losses in baseball. I also look at net runs in baseball, expected one loss. Mm-hmm. That really jumps out to you. A 9-7 team makes the playoffs with minus 155 net points. Love that stat, by the way. You said they only led 4 times at halftime in 17 games this season. I guess even the playoffs, if you count, that'd be even more. Brian Power, talking some football. He knows his stuff, but he obviously knows baseball as well. And Brian, tell him once again, as you go for your fifth straight 5% MLB best bet, what you got going, $2 Tuesday, WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, you mentioned the under we had on Sunday. Run goes back now 4 in a row with the max bets. We had another under actually on the Padres previous to that. So, goes against what I said earlier, team, low scoring team. But it's my NL game of the month, actually. Really like it. We've hit the 4 in a row. You mentioned the 2-0 Monday as well, Steve. Hit the Giants yesterday and the Yankees as well. So things have been great since coming aboard here. We, got on a bit of a lucky streak here and hope to have that continue. People can pick it up, just $2. Hope you try it out. We look to make it 5 in a row here tonight.
Yeah, good luck, Brian. Hottest capper right now on 5% best bets at MLB, and you get it for $2. Brian Power, WagerTalk.com, $2 Tuesday. And I misspoke. I think 155 net, minus 55 points. I said 155 because I'm going to mess with Sharapan when he's on later, Teddy. But minus 55 net points. But once again, the Patriots are plus 159. Bills are plus 194, so still a big difference compared to the other playoff teams. And we'll talk to Dave Sharapan about some football maybe and those Steelers in a few moments. But first, we're going to talk more NFL preseason football. 30 seconds. Teddy Covers has Thursday's kickoff on national TV between the Giants and Patriots for you. Big game breakdown after the break.
Known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers best bet or daily package for only $2.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. And you better believe we're talking NFL. Thursday night TV action on the NFL Network. The Patriots and the Giants. Right now, look at the Wager Talk live odds screen. We have seen money for the G-men. Call it minus 1.5. Minus 2s are popping up as we speak. 34 the total right now. I talked in the intro on Wager Talk Today this morning about the issues that New England has had on their offensive line. They're changing their blocking scheme, the same scheme that they've used for the last 21 years, a scheme that was installed by Charlie Weiss back in the day. And so far, the early returns and early reports on that Patriots offensive line scheme change have been as negative gets. The offense has not worked in practice so far. Now, Belichick, you're not going to get a whole lot of quotes out of him on what he's going to do in August. That's just the nature of the man. They are 3-0 straight up, 3-0 against the spread, their last 3 week ones. And they won them all by more than a touchdown. The QB rotation, in theory, Mac Jones, Brian Hoyer, Bailey Zappi, don't know yet, haven't gotten any specifics for Belichick in terms of time on the field for those guys. So we do know that the offense right now isn't working. So New England may well be a bet against. But if we're going to lay points in any NFL preseason game, we need a bet on. I think we have one with the G-men. First, you have a QB rotation you like. Daniel Jones with something to prove. Tyrod Taylor, the veteran backup, also with something to prove. Davis Webb as well, a guy who has had not success, but has regular season reps under his belt. That's a solid QB rotation for August. Perhaps just as importantly, all right, Brian Daboll, the Giants' new head coach, has worked under Sean McDermott in Buffalo. The Bills under McDermott in Buffalo, 7-0 straight up, 7-0 against the spread their last 2 preseasons. When you read Daboll's quotes, there's more analytics involved. I say I learned a lot from my time in Buffalo, where they've gotten off to historically fast starts with a healthy roster. I think McDermott does a great job of getting them ready to go early. More quotes from Daboll. Quote, everybody's in new offensive and defensive systems here. I think it's important to play football, to have live reps. I can't tell you how many reps it's going to be, less than some for more than others, but each game will have a plan going into it. Talk about game plan. I anticipate all our guys playing on Thursday. So this isn't a situation for a Giants team that in recent years has set healthy starters consistently in August. So we have a bet on, and we have a bet against. We're not going to lay points. Let's do it on the money line. Giants minus 130. I think they win the game on Thursday night. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Merrill.
And as you said, Teddy, we have definitely seen money coming to the Giants. Patriots, some of these lines opened a couple months ago, but the Patriots opened as a couple-point favorite. Now they're a couple-point dog. Obviously, -2 to +2 is not really crossing the key numbers there, 1 or 0 or 2. Preseason, though, can be a little bit different with those numbers, correct?
Yeah, 1's the most important number in preseason. So you're crossing both.
You think 1's really?
+1 and the -1.
You think one
nothing
is?
More.
Yeah, we see some 2s.
More games get decided by 1 than any other number in August. We saw it last week. We didn't see it last week. We will see it this week. But in terms of the Patriots, Giant, the whole reason I'm looking at the money line in this game, or they're taking the G-men to win the game straight up, because I don't want to be laying -1.5, -2, -2.5 in August. Those are the key numbers. All I want to do is ask my team to win, hence the money line play.
So are you telling me 1 is more likely than 3 in the preseason? I don't have preseason only charts on that. Really? Wow.
100%, not close.
Yeah, we need to get those charts from Ralph, actually. I'm going to message him. I don't think he's traveling, so I don't think he's on this week. But, yeah, that'd be interesting to see, because I know it's and this brings up another good point about teasers, Teddy. As you know, you would think with low totals, right? Normally low totals are great for teaser bettors because there's less points, but historically a teaser, the lines are just not as accurate, first of all, and second of all, those key numbers like 3, 4, 6, 7 just aren't in play like teasers like they are regular season, correct?
Yeah, I don't know any pros that bet teasers in preseason football. The real wise guys aren't making those bets because, again, you talked about and teasers work best when the betting markets are at their most efficient, when the point spreads are spot on, and you expect the games to fall right through the point spreads. Here, you expect many games to fall near where the point spread outcomes expected. In the preseason, they're basically hanging like a 2 and a 34 on every game and saying, all right, you guys decide which way the market's going to go. These are not, the quote-unquote tight lines like you're going to find by week 4 of the NFL season, the regular season, or something like that.
Yeah, and the reason I bring it up, though, is one other thing that works well is lower scoring games because the points mean more. So it is tempting when you see 34s, 33s out there. And then, of course, 2.5 up to 8.5 is a great teaser normally in the regular season. We do see a lot of 2s, 2.5. So it is tempting to see great teaser opportunities. I learned 2 decades ago that it doesn't work in the preseason, but I just wanted to let those new bettors know out there. You're looking at it right. You're saying a 2, 2.5 low total. That normally is teaser gold, but that's regular season only because these lines, like Teddy said, are not the same as a regular season September, October, November game. Let's bring in Tokyo Brandon. We have Tokyo. We're going to talk some Asian baseball, of course, because it's in his name. We contractually have to talk Asian baseball. We're going to get a little KBO, I believe, in a moment, but he's also a former MLB scout. So, Brandon, we will see you in Las Vegas in a couple weeks. Don't forget about the meet and greet, August 19th and 20th.
I won't forget.
Yeah, and you definitely need a little bit of a heads up to get there before everybody else. Saturday night at the Westgate, folks. It's still open to everybody on Saturday, August 20th, the Westgate Super Contest Weekend Wager Talk meet and greet. We also have a little golf and basketball outings during the day on Saturday. WT.buzz/MG for more details. WT.buzz/MG. Teddy, of course, will be out there in Vegas as always. Brandon and myself will be there also for that weekend. Looking forward to seeing you in person, Brandon. Let's talk some MLB. Brian Leonard's Cleveland Guardians at Johnny Detroit's Tigers. How you playing this one?
Yep. Yeah, I've got $1,300 worth of reasons not to forget to go to the meet and greet. That's how much it's costing me to fly out there. So, and the Guardians and the Tigers. Believe it or not, the Guardians are one of the hottest teams in MLB right now. And they've got If I Was Your Boyfriend, I Never Let You Go. They got Bieber on the mound tonight. And actually, he's done really well against the Tigers in his career. He's allowing only a .207 batting average against. He's allowed only 3 home runs and 161 career at bats against this lineup. So the Tigers are a terrible lineup. They're awful. And if you look at Tyler Alexander for the Tigers, he's been pretty good, but he allows 1 home run every 10 at bats to this Cleveland lineup in their career, and a .332 batting average against and a .107.2 OPS against in his career. So I like the Guardians here, and I think I crunched the numbers. I think it's pretty safe to lay the 1.5 because they're on the road. They're going to get 9 innings of at bats. So I'm on the Guardians -1.5 in this one.
So I'm certainly not going to try to make a case for the Detroit Tigers, a team that has cost anyone who's tried to back them this year money in one form or another. I'm not going to make a case the Tigers are going to hit Bieber or any of that. But Cleveland's not hitting right now. You know, what they score? 8 runs their last 4 games.
Very true.
They haven't had like an offensive outburst game since the All-Star break. It's just not a lineup that I'm comfortable. You know, when I'm laying a 1.5, there's 2 ways you look at it. One is you want hey, this team's going to completely shut them down. The other this team's going to score runs in bunches. The scoring runs in bunches part of the equation is not really something the Guardians have been able to do of late. Does that concern you when you talk about laying a 1.5 in here?
A little bit. What concerns me more than that is the fact that the Guardians hit poorly against left-handed pitchers, but against Tyler Alexander, they've rocked him. Like I said, they've hit 1 home run every 10 at-bats in their career against him. I think the bats are going to wake up today. And actually, they have the starting pitching advantage. They have the bullpen advantage. The Tigers have the 20th ranked bullpen in MLB, where the Guardians have the 6th. So I think a two-run advantage I don't think is too much to ask for even from this lineup who has been a little bit dormant since the break, as you said. I think a 2-run advantage is not too much to give. Actually, I crunched the numbers. I have this 4.8 runs to 2.7 runs. So I have them comfortably winning by 2 here.
Yeah, this Guardians lineup tonight, Tokyo's 14 for 45 against Alexander. It's a .311 batting average. Yep. So as you said, they have definitely hit him in the past. It's interesting, guys. He was pulled after April after 4 awful outings. Yeah. He's been back the last 2 starts. Kind of mixed results, though, with him because 9 innings, 5 runs, 4 earned. but he has only given up 7 hits in those 9 innings. So kind of interesting for me to see if he's back or not, or if they're just desperate. They're so bad they probably don't have anybody else. We'll see how it plays out. Tokyo Brandon likes the Guardians. Lay the 1.5 on the road run line. Get that at a pick on price. And of course, your specialty, Asian baseball. Let's look at a KBO game. What you got for us tonight in KBO action?
Yeah, before I get to that, I have a 5% play out tonight in Japanese baseball. That'll be late night, 2 a.m. Pacific time. So for the DGens, you can get that in. It's kind of like the Hawaii basketball game late night for people who didn't do too well in the daytime. But yeah, in the KBO, unfortunately, the numbers are out really late today in the KBO, so the numbers are not out yet. But when the numbers do come out, I like the Kiwoom Heroes and the Lotte Giants game here. Kiwoom is starting one of my favorite KBO pitchers. His name is Amu Jing. He got blown up for 8 runs in one of his starts, but if you take out that terrible start, he's given up 0, 0, 0, 2, 0, 1 earned runs in his last 6 starts. So he is a stud. I'll forgive one bad start from any pitcher in any league, especially in the KBO where runs come in bunches. They score more than MLB. The Lotte Marines are starting Dan Straley. I don't know if any of you remember him. He did pitch in the majors a while back. His last outing was last year. Yeah, Dan Straley. His last outing, though, in the KBO was last year. He's been injured all season this year. This is his first time up. I like Kiwoom here. When the numbers come out, take Kiwoom. Take them first 5. Take them full game. The Kiwoom Heroes, I'm all over this. Unfortunately, the numbers are not out yet. And Dave Sharapan's up next. I can see him on the screen, and it's kind of distracting what he's wearing. But ask Dave Sharapan. I'd like to ask him if I could. Hopefully I'll meet him in Vegas as well. But I want to know where they get these Asian lines from. Why are they late? Who's getting them? You used to work in the book, Dave. You should know. Do you guys just get them and just throw them out? I'm really curious to know the Korean baseball lines come from. But I'm all over the Kiwoom Heroes tonight. When the lines come out, bet them on the money line, bet them on the -1.5, bet them whatever odds you can get. And I also have a 5% play out tonight in Japanese baseball. It's a great play. I've won 71% lifetime of my 5% plays, so jump all over that. It's already up at my page at WagerTalk.com, and I have a free play out as well. So go check out my page there.
So, I mean, Brandon, you've got some pretty impressive numbers. When you talk about number 1 at WagerTalk and All Sports Profit the last 365 days. Number 1 in All Sports Profit in 2021, top 3 in All Sports Profit in 2022. Korean baseball better than 62% year to date. Japanese baseball sitting at 60% year to date. These are impressive freaking numbers, dude.
Thank you.
Talk about how you've been able to pull that together and how long you expect it to keep going.
Yeah, last year was my first full year at WagerTalk. I was plus 260, 265, I think, last year. This year I'm plus 148 profit in the year, so I'm a little off my last year's pace. Last year I was number 1 in All Sports Profit. This year I'm number 3 in All Sports Profit so far in 2022. I'm working on it. I'm getting there. How did I pull it off? Well, I think, again, I'd love to ask Dave where they get these Asian numbers from. The numbers are soft, though. They should ask me to do the numbers because they're a lot easier to beat than MLB or especially NFL or college basketball and whatnot. The American sports, people are a lot more educated on it, and the bookmakers like Dave and others are a lot smarter when they make their numbers. They have a lot more inside information. The Asian numbers are really soft. I don't know if they're getting them from a computer or if they're just getting them from some guy in his basement. I have no idea, but those are the guys I'm trying to beat. And, a capper lifetime, if you're 60%, that's pretty incredible. I think the best capper in the world in the history, I forgot his name, but there's some legendary capper, and his lifetime winning percent was 58. So as a capper, if you can get a 58% win percentage at minus 20 odds, you're doing really good. So in my Japanese and my Korean, Generally, I'm around 60% win. I'm not getting minus 20 odds. Sometimes I'm laying 150. Sometimes I'm laying 160. But, a win is a win. And if you win, the odds don't matter. So that's, I guess, how I've been doing it. I used to be a scout.
Yeah, as I say, Brandon,
in
all
MLB,
you should care about is you hope whoever's making the odds continues to make the odds and they don't switch it up, because you obviously have figured out how to beat Asian baseball. And just to put it in perspective, he has had 450 wins and just 189 losses. That's 161 net games just in 2022 in KBO and Japanese baseball. 161 net games right now. If you like diversification nation, as you know I do, it's a pretty good way to diversify your sports betting portfolio by adding Tokyo Brandon to the mix. WagerTalk.com. He's got some strong plays going, including a 5% late night Japanese baseball best bet. Brandon, we'll see you in about a week and a half on Saturday, August 20th, the meet and greet in Las Vegas at the Westgate. Hopefully we will see Dave Sharapan in person as well. I know one thing. With you, Sharapan.
Oh,
I'll tell you what, if
hey,
they don't get back on track, they're ice cold. Is that a hangover from the Dodgers sweep?
yeah. Listen, I was out in San Diego last week, so I was just listening to that Diaz walk-up music with the trumpets, getting ready for the show. I can't get enough of that. I've listened to it 25 times this morning. Bet the over. That's how I'm waking the kids up every day for school. That's the way we wake up and get ready for the Wager Talk show. Yeah, San Diego, right? They make the move. They get Soto. And who would have thought Joey Gallo went from the Yankees to the Dodgers? That meant the Dodgers haven't lost since they got Joey Gallo. The Yankees finally shook the losing streak last night and beat the Mariners, but they lost every game since trading Gallo. And the Padres can't win. I was out there, went to the game Thursday, sat next to a guy with a dog. Not that there's anything wrong with bringing your dog to the ballpark, but I didn't know. And then he was in seat number 1 and I was in seat number 2. And I got there and there was a husky in my seat. So I had to sit in seat number 4. But I don't know, boys. A lot of stuff going on in MLB. And I figured the Padres need all the help they can get. So I came on and picked this up while I was there. Little City Connect sweatshirt. Maybe it'll help them. Beach hat, bucket hat. I know you're a fan of the bucket hat, Merrill. Wore the bucket hat for you.
As long as it has
it's
the
a
loop.
good look for you.
We talked about it. It's got to have the string in case it gets windy.
In case it's windy, yeah. Listen, I don't want any drama. I figured it would be all right to wear that bucket hat today without Prez, because Prez gets mad and I come in and try to loosen things up. He's always so stiff and
very mad at bucket hats. He's had an incident.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, Dave.
Yes, sir.
This is a time of year that is like a steady stream of bookmakers leaving Las Vegas to go to Del Mar for a week.
Yes.
End of July, beginning of August. Did you go out to the racetrack? Did you bet the ponies? Did you see a bunch of Vegas odds makers out there? Because it always seems like literally this time of year, everyone from Vegas who works in the sports industry tries to get out to San Diego.
You know how hot it is here, Teddy. Everybody's getting ready for football. Everybody got to get their head cleared before football season starts. And it's the only time they give you off when you work in a book. So everybody kind of coordinates their trip. Now, apparently, I didn't know this. I knew 2 of them were going to be there, but I didn't know the other 4 were going to be there. They all went and took their shot at a pick 6 that was working. Big pick 6 pool at Del Mar, too, which built up. So, yeah, it's almost a rite of passage. Listen, I've done this multiple times in the summers when you have off before school starts, which in Vegas it started yesterday, which is ridiculous that it's this early. But I've gone on a day trip, driven 5 hours, had lunch, gone to the track the whole day, and got back in the car and drove back 5 hours, hopefully, back home, just to get out of the heat, have a day at the races. Del Mar, Marco, Sig, all the horse guys that are here on Wager Talk will attest. It's a beautiful place. It's in the right space mentally. You smell that ocean air, maybe hit a couple races and come back. It's great. I absolutely love it. And coincidentally ran into some guys that do the same thing. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Dave, can you imagine when California eventually gets legalized sports betting?
Oh.
That'll be the thing that hits Vegas. Everyone always said Atlantic City was going to kill them in the 70s. It just made them stronger. It was going from like a double-A baseball game to a major league game. But yeah, you're talking about that traveling. I mean, California, 80 degrees all week in Del Mar the last time I checked. It's a nice little break from the heat, to say the least. Hey, I got to ask you while we got you. We were talking Steelers earlier. Brian Power had under 7 season wins. You're a Pittsburgh guy. I follow Tomlin closely, obviously, and one point Teddy brought up, and Brian brought it up too. I don't think Tomlin's ever had a losing season, so right away that's going to have to happen, and then some. He'd have to go 6-11, like Teddy said. Also, though, you'd have to go 8-9 to lose the bet, and the Steelers are negative 55 points last year, despite making the playoffs. Nobody else was even close to negative for the playoffs. What's your take on the Steelers? I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I think Trubisky's going to win the job, and I think he's going to start the season. Knowing that, if that's the case, I think the play calling is going to be a lot different. I think they're going to try to possess the ball and keep the defense off the field, hopefully convert third downs a little bit more. I think they're going to be an under team. A lot of the games will be playing under, if that's the case. If they don't turn the ball over, I think they're going to have at least that many wins. I think it's a good – I think 8's the number. If I were to I went through the schedule a couple times trying to keep it as neutral as possible. 8 or 8.5, I think they can go 9-8, the way the schedule sets up. But if there's one hiccup, if Trubisky gets hurt and they just kind of use this as a growing pains, get some experience for Kenny Pickett, it could go bad. It could go 5-12. I think that's what I went through and found the bottom. Now going through the schedule, and I think the Ravens are going to be really good. Still don't know what to make of Cleveland, and I think Cincinnati. A lot of people think they regress. I don't see it as much. The division is tough, so the ceiling, really, if you're trying to be objective about it, is probably 10-7. So you have more numbers under than you do over. You got to take that into consideration when you make one of those season win plays. But I'll bet on Mike Tomlin, Merrill. On Flex Tuesday, we'll go to one of Tomlin's sayings: "The standard is the standard." All right.
Look at that.
Let's get it. Let's get
Even
8
that
wins at
sweatshirt
least.
Teddy can't contain him. Even the San Diego sweatshirt Teddy cannot contain Flex Tuesday.
Not today.
So we've got just a few minutes left here with Dave Sharapan at SportsBKConsig on Twitter, Sportsbook Consigliere. Obviously, Dave, a guy who is a veteran odds maker, both in the global marketplace and here in Las Vegas. Despite the outfit, the guy's as sharp as a tack. Dave,
he looks like a rocket pop, one of those rocket popsicles.
Yeah,
I know.
you look like,
it's a hat. I finally figured it out, like the blue raspberry, one of those rocket pops.
The blue on the top.
Sorry, Teddy, I had to get that in.
It's nice.
Yeah. It's legit. He does look like a rocket top. Let's talk a little bit about the NFL, because I want to leave a minute or two for Steve to ask MLB at the end. But when you talk about hot teams in the betting marketplace and not teams in the betting marketplace right now, who are you seeing the action? Who are the hot teams? Who do the wise guys like? And who's getting pounded? They're betting against them, whether it's preseason, whether it's regular season, whether it's win totals. Give me an example of a team that the wise guys like and one that they don't.
Well, it's funny. We kind of briefly discussed it a little bit out there, but nobody really wanted to talk football when everybody got together. It was pretty funny. Against Tennessee, Teddy. Ain't nobody think Tennessee's going to be any good, despite being the number 1 seed in the AFC last year. That's a complete go against. As far as a bet on, I think that people, like the couple people that I talked to, maybe we were in San Diego, but it was like California mindset, whatever. It was like the Rams. Look at the NFC, the Rams. I'm like, the Rams? Really? Like, you go through their schedule, 11, 12 is possible again, but Stafford may be hurt. He's already doing the thing with the elbow. Who knows? But yeah, those were the Tennessee thing is just constant. Every time I'm out, they're like, hell, they're betting against Tennessee again. They're betting against Tennessee again. They've been betting against Tennessee for years now. In the playoffs, it pays off because, they get there. But The AFC South has basically been awarded to the Indianapolis Colts. I don't know if you guys are aware, but again, no drama on Tuesday, but just punch the Colts ticket to the division win, a home playoff game, and possibly the second round of the playoffs. So, against Tennessee and for sure against Houston in that division. Jacksonville, I hear a little bit of both. New coach, things may be looking up. Same old, bet under. That season wins is pretty much two-way action.
Yeah, Jacksonville's a team that always fascinates me. They were 3-14 last year, but keep in mind they were in the AFC title game just a few years ago, and I don't think they've won like 5 games since then in any season. It's just been remarkable how fast they fell after that loss at New England. A couple more minutes with Dave Sharapan. Dave, you of course do a lot of MLB Network. Let us know about that. Sports Grid channel 159, Sirius XM can hear them all the time in the evenings, 7 o'clock Eastern. So give us some actionable info on baseball, and also let us know when we can maybe find you on MLB TV again in the near future.
So, right from here, I go to Bostonian versus the Book with Peralt, and then today I'll be on with Vescursion on pregame spread. It's from 2 to 3 Pacific, so we got a couple segments between the 2 and the 2:30 hour, half hour, somewhere in there. I'm texting with the producers now, trying to figure out exactly what we're looking at. As far as the card today, it's a lot of chalk and a lot of favorites. And this is where, August betting baseball is tough when you have two teams, one going up and headed towards the playoffs and the other one completely not. I'd rather bet on a game with two bad teams and just try to pick the pitcher than pick the good team, bad team game. Or two good teams, kind of like a playoff game like it is in Seattle. The line yesterday on the Yankees was super low, one of the best lines you've seen on a Yankee game in the whole season. Today, you get Cole at what looks like a ridiculously discounted price. I think you'll hear people tell you both sides of this game. I like Castillo plus money at home with Seattle. It might end up being a quote-unquote square dog. I don't know, but I like that price with the Mariners against the Yankees. Yankees finally won a game yesterday, and they hit Judge at another home run. Great. As far as the rest of the card, scan it through. Wheeler, big favorite. Carrasco at home against Cincinnati, bigger favorite. Somehow Stroman and the Cubs are $2 favorites. It's chalky as hell today. I think a sneaky dog is the Pirates, and it's not just because it's nighttime in Pittsburgh behind me. They're playing competitive baseball in low-scoring games. I really like the under in that game. Again, had under last night. Come back with under there. San Francisco and San Diego. I'm wearing a San Diego stuff. Musgrove hasn't been himself since the All-Star break. I saw him in person Thursday in the day game. And the curveball just didn't have the snap. The Rockies got a bomb and a couple base hits. Hard hit balls, a lot of hard contact. This is a little bit lower than should be expected, but the Padres are going bad. I think I bet under the game already, under 7.5. I think that's where the sharp money's coming, or whatever you want to call it. And I think San Francisco's live again. I think you ride against San Diego until they win. It's pretty much it. Manoah, yes. Bieber, yes. Like Perez, yes. There's a lot of favorites today that just look like yeses to me.
Well, Musgrove's an interesting guy because he's pitched 19 games this year. There's only 2 other seasons he's ever gone more than 19 starts. So those are guys, he's having a better season than normal. Those are guys you worry about in the September, August, September, if they start to wear down. So it's interesting to hear you say that you don't think his stuff has been the same. That's another reason I'm not bullish on the Padres. I just don't see the pitching come postseason to keep up with DeGrom and Scherzer in 4 out of 5 out of 7, or Burns and Woodruff, stuff like that. So we'll see what happens.
As good as Soto is, and as big of a trade as that was, Soto can't pitch.
Exactly,
it's just
right. And Josh Bell. They only needed one of those 2 guys. They didn't need both of them. They should have gotten a pitcher, in my opinion.
Yeah, they need one more arm. We'll see what happens. But if you match Darvish at the top or Musgrove with, those 1-2 with the other top 1-2s, Scherzer DeGrom is better than anybody. That's right. If DeGrom is DeGrom, You should be buying Mets futures right now because they're coming out of the National League. I mean, if he's that good, they can be. I had somebody tell me last night, I was down in Circus, that the Mets are the only team they think can beat the Dodgers in the National League. Over a 7-game series, they might be right.
Tell you right now, I wouldn't want to face Burns and Woodruff, though, if they're on in 4 or 5 out of 7 either. But I said if the Mets pull away in the division, I said it on my weekend video, start looking at the futures, and they got 4 out of 5. They were 6.5 going into yesterday. DeGrom and Scherzer are going to be tough. You do not want to face them. Teddy's former New York Mets in the postseason. Dave, great seeing you. We'll see you on a nightly basis on Sports Grid TV. Numerous devices. You can find that on Roku as well. Fire TV, I believe. And then, of course, Sirius XM channel 159. And don't forget MLB Network, 5 to 6 Eastern, 2 to 3 Pacific. Flex Tuesday in effect. San Diego sweatshirt, the Rocket Pop cannot contain
Teddy,
those
get
biceps. Oh, my goodness.
That's it, Merrill.
My arms got cut off.
Strong.
They got cut off in Prez's studio apartment. I knew that was going to happen. I got to get out of here, Dave. He's going to be back in a few moments. He'll be back tomorrow. I got to head back to the States. Good seeing you, Dave Sharapan, Sports BK Consig on Twitter. That is Teddy Covers. I'm Steve Merrill. It was a great show, Teddy. I appreciate you letting me guest host for a couple days. You'll have the Prez back tomorrow. Surprise, enjoy. And I will see you in Vegas at the meet and greet in about 1 week. Don't forget $2 Tuesday and $5 Tuesday at Sports Memo for 3 cappers. That works out to $1.67 Tuesday at sportsmemo.com. Teddy, take us home.
Sure. We got to thank Brandon Siefkin. We got to thank Brian Power making his WagerTalk Today debut. And, of course, the Sportsbook Consigliere, Dave Sharapan. And I want to thank all of you out there in listener and viewer land for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with us. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast. Noon for you back east. Between now and then, enjoy the games and good luck.
Ready to take your favorite WagerTalk handicappers wherever you travel this football season? The WagerTalk TV app is now live for phones, tablets, smart TVs, and streaming platforms. Tune into your favorite shows like WagerTalk Today, Bet on It, and the Opening Line Report. Plus, browse through our extensive library of sports betting tips. Create your personal playlist of betting tip videos to help you prepare for the upcoming season, and set notifications to alert you when new content is added. Download the app for Apple, Android, Amazon, and Roku devices by searching for WagerTalk TV, or scan the QR code on your screen to join the winning conversation today.